Hi, today's good person to know is Russell McAthy. He's Director of Strategy at BlueGlass, and he gave a talk on attribution and said there are several attribution models available on Google Analytics, the most popular being last click. He says it's difficult to monitor website activity when people are using multiple devices, but says there is a way around it by using databases to post-match people. By using historical data, you can connect the dots, but that is not perfect. At best, it will be 80% accurate, so you have to base decisions on wrong data, which nobody likes to do. But Russell says it's not wrong. You just have to understand the methodology, and explains how it works and the types of questions that you should be asking. Russell's key tip was to get all the information that you can about people using your website, put it into a database and turn that into marketing activity. Finally, Russell left us with something that we could do immediately. So do watch it to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.
Here's some online models. Now you probably have heard of most of these. These are the available ones in Google Analytics. The top one there is the typical attribution model that people would be using day in, day out, which is the last click. And that in itself is fine. Like most people here will be using last click and it works. The problem is that all of these models actually work about the same. And ultimately you've got different types of models, and it's just someone picking which model they think will show what they actually want to show to the person they're speaking to. To go into a little bit more complicated situations, you've got the likes of sequency and recency. So it's not just the fact that there was 5 interactions that that person had with the brand, but it could be how often that person's interacted with you. Has that person seen a display ad and then 20 minutes later has clicked on a PPC ad? Now that PPC ad and that display ad, you could algorithmically calculate that that display advertising has had an effect on that user. And that's where the algorithmic calculations come in, because that's when you start to see an increase in the value of both doing PPC very soon after the display ad. People use multiple devices. Everyone has a phone, well most people unless you're a bit weird. They've got a tablet, you've got multiple tablets in the house, and then you've got a laptop. And you might use all of them to get to a website. Now there's a few ways that models and systems can connect those sessions, and one was just picked up nicely that Facebook can do this. And it's no surprise because you have to log into Facebook, and therefore they've got a universal ID that they can use. If you log on your phone, it's the same user ID that you'd log in on your tablet or on your laptop. But most websites, other than Google, Amazon and Facebook, don't really have this, you have to sign in, or we want to browse products before I sign up and purchase. So you can start to use databases to post-match people. So if you've gone on your tablet and you've researched a pair of shoes, and then you go onto your laptop and you buy those pair of shoes and you've logged in and signed up for a user account, those two are completely different sessions in your analytics. And therefore this one over here has a 0% conversion rate, and this one over here has got a 100% conversion rate. But 2 months later, if you log in on your laptop, and you can then connect that original session to this user journey, we start to talk about people rather than sessions. And we can start to say, oh actually, historically, when we look at last year's worth of data, we can say that that type of activity drove that sale before the second sale. And we can start to connect those dots. Anyone who does analytics knows that probably most of the time your data is only ever 80% right, even if you've got the best Google Analytics setup in the world. But the problem when you start connecting multiple sessions together is you end up with these filter bubbles where you know purple, people who have joined with multiple visits. And then the orange section is the people who have joined with multiple different sessions, but we don't know if that's the same person yet. And then you've got this bigger session of loads of individual users coming to your website that you haven't been able to connect to other users yet. It means that you have to make decisions based on what you know is incorrect data. And this is the main reason why there's loads of skepticism around attribution as a topic, because the data's wrong. It's not wrong, you're just needing to understand this as a methodology and use that when you're creating your campaigns. And I'll show you what the type of campaigns you can use. We're not just talking about attribution to a revenue number or a sales number. We can start to look at attribution to a click-through rate or to post-sale activity. So this is a slide that we use quite often in BlueGlass to show the KPIs that you need to look at different parts of the buying funnel. So you've got pre and post-sale going through ABC for acquisition, behaviour and conversion, and then SLA for satisfaction, loyalty and advocacy. And you can start to look at the performance of different KPIs. You've got a bunch of data, and you've got data from an on-site point of view. So you've got the performance of landing pages, you've got the performance of the content you're consuming. And then off-site data, so the stuff that's in AdWords, in the data warehouses that you might use from a display point of view. You've got the paid keyword mix, you've got the mix of channels. And you can start to combine the two data sets to get to a point where you've got customised landing pages that are tailored. You've got someone who comes to your website and they view the sports section, and therefore the remarketing you serve them is then sports-led. And you understand the value of doing that activity because you can connect those two users. And then they end up purchasing something in the sports section. So that sale can then be attributed to all the activity prior to it. Part of the main issue with attribution is that marketers aren't actually asking the right questions. These are the types of questions that you should be asking of the attribution model and of the team who's looking after the data or of the analytics package you're using. So you can start to say, actually, how do I drive a higher average revenue per user? How can I actually drive better quality users to my website? Where do I go to get a better lifetime value? Now I understand multiple touch points. How do I stop getting crap customers to my website? The people who come, they only ever buy one thing and it's incredibly low and I probably don't make any money on it. So how do I stop that? Because it's not just worrying about that last visit. I've had to spend 50 quid acquiring a customer and then they've only spent 20 quid with us. So how do we stop those initial touch points with that user? Now, if you're not already doing this, you should be, because it's still legal to do so, and you can go and get all the information about everyone who comes to your website and pull it down, because everyone gives you all your information. The amount of information that's about you online right now is incredibly scary. And then you've got things like the social sign-ins, you've got linking people's Facebook accounts to your database. So people out there have live versions of a Facebook database that will know if you get engaged, we'll send you stuff for wedding invitations and wedding bookings. And if you then change your relationship status, we're now going to put you on dating websites. And they basically keep a live copy of your Facebook profile in their database, ready to market to you. We've got all of these different platforms coming in, and we're able to collate all that data into a central warehouse and then turn that into marketing activity and do that and understand where that sits into a buying cycle. So we can say that if that person is researching a holiday, we know that where they're researching, if they've told us. If not, we know they're about to purchase a holiday. And we can then understand the propensity for that person to then purchase a holiday for our client and then up our bids in paid media, or increase the amount of content we're writing about that space and use social to push that content out to them. We're in this stage where if you're willing to put any information online, marketers are going to use it. In your terms and conditions, your privacy policy, just have that paragraph. And then everything's okay at the moment until someone bigger than you will get penalised, and then you have to go and speak to your developers. But at the moment, get as much information as you possibly can from the open graph, because it will go at some point, it will be limited. But if it's in your database, they can't do anything about it, and you might as well get that information. Something that can be done today, if you've got Google Analytics on your website, you can do value attribution. And this is an incredibly basic version of attribution. So you set up content grouping at an incredibly high level. So use one of the content grouping options on your website and split your website into sections like this: the corporate section, the e-com section, the marketing pages, so the landing pages, etc., the navigation pages, so your category pages. And then you can run a very basic attribution model over content grouping. Rather than worrying about channels, forget about channels. What value do each one of these sections have to a sale? And then you can start to look at the value from a revenue point of view in changing these. And all your goals will go against this as well.